Welcome to the Dansports.tips daily baseball show for the 24th of April. I'll be taking a look at everything you need for your daily fantasy games on DraftKings and your sports bets on the baseball today. I will start as usual with the sports bets. There are 3 games I want to take a look at today. I'm going to take 5 points on Arizona, minus 1.5 on the run line to beat the San Diego Padres. 3 points on Cincinnati and Milwaukee to go over 8.5 total runs. And 2 points on Cincinnati to win that game and over 9.5 runs in the game. I'll also take 3 points on Toronto at the Los Angeles Angels to go over the number of 8 total runs. I'm going to be looking for Zach Greinke's luck to turn around, for the Diamondbacks to score some runs for him against Jhoulys Chacín, despite their inability to do so last week when these two pitchers matched up in San Diego. Chacín historically struggles, and the good start is an outlier for him, so I'm expecting this to even out, particularly in the more hitter-friendly confines in Arizona at Chase Field. Cincinnati travel to Milwaukee. It's a good park for hitters, but I do like the pitching matchup for the Reds. I also believe their relief pitching is superior to Milwaukee's as well. I will take the game to go over the number, but with plenty of left-handed power on display, I think that there's plenty of scope for runs despite the pitching advantage for the Reds, who I do think will win the game in that special double. Finally, in Anaheim, conditions look good for the hitters. We've got a pitching matchup of Francisco Liriano against Jesse Chavez, 2 pitchers who respectively have struggled in this ballpark and with their opposition today, so I do think that can clear 8 runs with the wind blowing out to centre field as well. Looking at daily fantasy games on DraftKings today, the pitchers I like are Hyunjin Ryu of the Los Angeles Dodgers for 10,200, Miguel Gonzalez of the Chicago White Sox for 7,500, and Chad Kuhl of the Pittsburgh Pirates for $7,000. I'd love to use Chris Archer as well, but I cannot risk it with the weather forecast for that game in Baltimore today. Looks in danger of a rain out. Ryu gets a solid yard to pitch in San Francisco, a nice matchup in win terms against Max Cain, and as a lefty, he does profile well against the lefty-heavy Giants lineup. Miguel Gonzalez has quietly gone about his business quite effectively for the Sox, with a sub-3 ERA and over a strikeout per inning at this early stage of the season. And Chad Kuhl has a tough matchup against the Cubs, but he has been pitching really well. All the peripherals are there for him as well. Probably the 3rd best option. I think I prefer Gonzalez over him, but I certainly wouldn't put you off using Chad Kuhl today. On the stacks today, the Cincinnati Reds, I'll take first baseman Joey Votto for 5,100, outfielder Billy Hamilton for 4,600, second base or third base Scooter Gennett for 4,100, and outfielder Scott Schebler for 4,100. The Milwaukee Brewers, I'll take first baseman Eric Thames for 4,100, outfielder Domingo Santana also 4,100, outfielder Ryan Braun for 5,400, and third baseman Travis Shaw for 3,900. And Colorado Rockies, I'll take outfielder Charlie Blackmon for 5,500, outfielder Carlos Gonzalez for 5,300, Gerardo Parra, the other outfielder, for 4,200, third baseman Nolan Arenado for 5,600, and second baseman DJ LeMahieu for 4,800. The best available ballpark to us other than Coors Field today is Miller Field in Milwaukee, so I'm happy to take both sides with a stack in an excellent yard for left-handed power. All 4 Reds, have the platoon with Garza. He makes his first start of the year after injury. I'm anticipating that Gennett will play, with Cozart having missed a game or 2 over the weekend with injury. As for the Brewers, they face young Amir Garrett. He's been excellent this early stage of the year. As with all rookies, he will hit a bump in the road at some point. As a lefty, he doesn't necessarily profile well for left-handed power, which is what excels in Milwaukee. But Thames and Shaw have both hit the ball well and displayed power. And as I say, the ballpark does suit. Braun and Santana have the platoon in the matchup and both hit lefties very well. Then, of course, we've got Coors Field as the Rocks entertain the Nationals. I'll take on Jacob Turner. He's been pitching quite well at AAA according to the numbers, but it's still a call-up in place of Steven Strasburg for this game. I will take mainly lefties. I'll throw in batting champion for the National League last year, DJ LeMahieu, and Nolan Arenado as well, who can hit the ball out of any park, let alone Coors Field at altitude. My foundation players today: first baseman Anthony Rizzo of the Chicago Cubs for 5,300, second baseman Rougned Odor of Texas for 4,600, third baseman Jake Lamb of Arizona for 4,300. Trey Turner qualifies at short and in the outfield for 5,500, and outfield Mike Trout for the Los Angeles Angels for 5,300. Although I do like Chad Kuhl today, Rizzo homered in all 3 games at Cincinnati over the weekend, has the platoon advantage and decent stats in a small sample size against Kuhl. Rougned Odor gets less than ideal conditions forecast today, but he does have pop in his bat, he hits for power, and he has the platoon advantage against the fly ball happy Phil Hughes in opposition today. Jake Lamb gets Jhoulys Chacín in a rematch of last week. Chacín is unlikely to shut the Snakes down again, and Lamb does have the platoon. Trey Turner with the platoon at Coors is pretty much a no-brainer play, as is Mike Trout against Francisco Liriano with platoon in a ballpark that Liriano has not experienced success, and solid weather forecast conditions for hitting as well. My value play today, catcher Tucker Barnhart of the Cincinnati Reds for 3,100, first baseman Kendrys Morales of Toronto for 3,600, second baseman Brandon Drury of Arizona for 3,700, Josh Harrison qualifies at second and third for Pittsburgh, he's 3,700, shortstop Jordy Mercer of Pittsburgh for 3,200, and outfielder David Peralta of Arizona for $4,000. In addition to the stack, we can take lefty catcher Barnhart for the Reds in a good yard for him. Morales has solid conditions and hit one a long way against the Red Sox the other day. Brandon Drury is another D-back I will look to work in a few in against Shakeen, as I've said, along with Peralta in the outfield. He has platoon. Josh Harrison and Jordy Mercer draw Brett Anderson. They will have the platoon advantage against him, and they hit at the top of the lineup for the Bucks. That is what I've got for you today. Best of luck with your lineups. Have certainly best of luck if you're joining me on the Sports Bet. Don't forget to hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel. Give me a follow on Twitter at Dansports.tips. I'm here regularly throughout the baseball season, and I'll see you soon. Play ball.